Good evening. Shameless plug to start off with, my wife, one of the classes she teaches at B&L is personal finance, so send students her way. She keeps a job. Alright, so real quick, jail counts. We have, as of this morning, 103 total inmates, 85 of those were males, 18 females. Holding 7 for DOC, but we have 6 of those scheduled to be taken to DOC within the next 5 to 6 days. 7 parole holds that we have to try to arrange transports for, and then we're holding 9 level 6 felonies. So, numbers have started to kind of even out now the last couple weeks. So, like I said, we have hired some dispatchers. We're up to 10 out of 11. I actually thought we had all 11 spots filled, but one of them texted yesterday and ended up not taking the job that she was going to start Sunday. So, but we're getting real close. So, I did want to bring. I talked this morning to the at the commissioners meeting. I just wanted to bring it up here today. I have discovered we got several big ticket items that are kind of at the end of their life, and then some obvious safety type repairs that we need at the jail that I know things have been talked about for a long time as far as the jail stuff goes, but I mean, camera systems, cell doors, interlocking door systems that prevent 2 outside doors from being unlocked at the same time accidentally, spot intercom cameras, so when somebody comes to the door and they talk, you can actually see who's there and that it's really who they say they are. So some different things like that are, we also have other mechanical things that are going to need replaced, but those things that I just mentioned I think are pretty dire to the safety of our employees, the inmates, and certainly huge as far as reducing liability to the county. It's no secret that a jail study was done, and a large section of that talked about the deficiencies in the current jail safety-wise. So if something is to happen, hopefully it doesn't, but if something does happen, that's kind of out there in the public for people to know that we know about those things. So we need to start thinking about that, I think. Also, body cameras. Our body cameras are completely obsolete now. We can't, the company has now told us we can no longer send them in to fix them. They can't even get parts or anything, and we have been sending them in to be repaired. And obviously we all know that in today's world, you cannot function as a police agency without body cams. You can't. If you go to court, they're gonna expect you to have video of what's going on. God forbid we have another police action shooting like we had a few weeks ago, and that wasn't on video. There would be so many questions and things. So that's one of my big priorities that I think we need to figure out what we're gonna do there. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as just buying a few 30 or 40 body cameras to replace what we have. The server and everything that's stored on that is not compatible with any of the new cameras. So it would require an entire upgrade of the system, which would be, instead of a server, it would be cloud storage, so it would never actually be obsolete, down the road. It would be 45 cameras, 45 body cameras, and then the way it works is that they would be compatible with Spillman and all the different systems that we currently have in our in-car cameras. But in 2.5 years, well, number one, it's a no-fault warranty on those body cams. If you drop them and run over them or whatever, you pick up the pieces, you send it in, they send you a brand new one at no cost for 5 years. At 2.5 years, they send all new body cams, the latest and greatest that they have. They say they replace them. They upgrade about every 2 or 3 years. So in about 2.5 years, they would send their latest edition, which would be at no cost. And then at the 5-year mark, when everything was paid for, you would get the latest body cams again at no cost. And then hopefully those would be able to last another 5 or 6 years on top of that before any other costs. So that's kind of what we're looking at. However, that comes at a cost of close to $160,000 to upgrade all that, so it's not cheap. There is a body camera grant that's out there from the federal government that we looked into applying for, and we certainly would qualify, other than it's a matching grant, so we have to have at least, we have to have half the money to be able to do it. And $100,000 sitting in our budget waiting to spend on body cams. So, but that's an issue that I think we really need to drill down on, because I mean, you'll just be crucified if you don't have body cams out there doing police work. So, want to make that make you aware of that. And then our aging cars are just killing us with repair bills, because the cost of everything has just gone up. I mean, a simple brake job, just maintenance, is close to $1,000 now on a car. So it just eats our budget up pretty quick. So obviously there's some things we just have to monitor. We're working through, but I wanted to bring it to your attention, especially the jail stuff and the body cam, the needs for those things. So. And then finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about the CHIRP grant. It's the Comprehensive Highway Injury Reduction Program. It's basically what most people through the years know as OPO, Operation Pullover, but they've changed the name over the last couple of years. I don't know how many years, but for years the Sheriff's Department has participated and received that grant. It was applied for last year. The grant has came through. We received $25,850 through the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute, and this is kind of a joint partnership with Bedford, so they work some of the hours too. We just administer it all. But ICJ, the Criminal Justice Institute, there's historically low participation by officers, not just in this county, but statewide. So they're like they're begging people to work this stuff. And obviously, I'm a big believer in this for a couple of reasons. Is we all know out on 37 we've seen an increase in fatal crashes and serious crashes. So this allows us to actually have a presence out there. You know, when we're running with the manpower we are for our county, oftentimes we don't have the ability to do that going from call to call. But this would free up people to work overtime to be out there, hopefully helping there. And then, of course, one of our big priorities is drug dealing enforcement. And we all know that most of those start with simple traffic stops. And so these extra hours would be a great time for our officers to be doing some interdiction patrols while out there. And then I anticipate some larger drug dealing investigations stemming from these traffic stops too.
The purpose of the grant is for overtime for the officers that want.
Correct. And it's just $25,000. It's no cost to the county.
Not much overtime, does that matter? Not sure.
Yeah, it's not, but they've actually not went through all of that the last several years anyway. But because they are trying to get people to work it, the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute has, they will start paying double time instead of time and a half to the officers. Hence the reason I'm here to let you guys know that they propose that. I've talked to them and again, it doesn't cost anything extra to the county because the money is already there. It's just as simple as, we send in the invoice on this is how many hours we worked and who, and then they send the money in. But because it is more than the regular time and a half, I wanted to let you guys know that they are gonna start paying double time on that.
I have a question about the cars. And since you're new, I thought there was a rotation, first of all. Second of all, last year, I thought the Sheriff's Department got at least 2 cars and perhaps 3. I don't know how many you have out on the road.
So we have a lot. I mean, we probably have, I should know the exact number, but we have somewhere around counting transport, counting everything. I mean, we have 35 or 40 probably vehicles in our fleet.
So that's just a pittance, isn't it?
Right. And
But is
so
there
yes,
no
there is kind of a rotation there. So it's budgeted basically for 3 cars a year in different spots, but that budget is like $34,000 a vehicle. They cost about $50,000 now to do that. So yes, they have historically bought at least 3 cars, and sometimes they're able to do a 4th one out of commissary. But even those 3 cars that are budgeted, that's another $15,000 to $20,000 they have to pay. We have to pay out of commissary to outfit those. But again, when you're replacing 3 or maybe 4 if you're lucky cars, I mean at that rate, that takes 9 to 10 years to get all the way through your fleet.
Well,
And police cars are drove a lot harder than normal cars, so you put miles on them a lot faster, and it's just the nature of the beast is it's harder on them. So I'm not saying there's an easy answer, or that there's like $1 million out there to fall into my lap, but I just wanna make you guys aware of that is an issue we battle every day. Major Blackwell is in charge of the fleet stuff, and he comes down about, he's got a lot of gray hair already in 2 months, so.
Poor thing.
But that's all I have, unless you guys have any other questions.
Did I see the other day that Homeland Security had a body camera grant?
So, yeah, there is a, federal grant that just recently opened, and it's that matching dollar for dollar, so you have to come up with half of it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
It is a very good deal. I mean, if we were ever gonna be able to do it, this would be a time, because we can get this basically at half price.
Yeah.
So, and I'm also looking, I think, some in-kind money can be counted toward that, so I think, like Detective Sloan manages the, body cam. Obviously, he doesn't spend all day, every day, but if I can figure out like what percentage of his time goes toward that, I think I can maybe count some of his salary toward that, which, that's a drop in the bucket. But if I can come up with some things like that to help out, then, so.
Good plan. Hope it works, cause I gotta tell you, 160,000 wasn't near as bad as I thought you were gonna say.
Oh. Yeah, that's certainly money well spent, because you cannot do our job without body cams these days, you can't do it.
I think that's important to all of us to see that, somehow we can get that worked out.
Yeah, and, as far as, like, one of the other features the body cams would have that ours do not have is the ability to go in and not edit, but to, like, blur out certain things. Because like in this officer involved shooting, I have multiple media requests waiting for that video. As soon as the investigation is given the all clear, well, we don't have the ability to do that with our old antiquated system. Luckily, I have some contacts at the state police still and they were nice enough to let me send that to them, and they have prepared that so that I will be able to be in compliance with state law to
Like
release it.
that, you're talking about blurring bystanders out? and-
Like bystanders, but like state law basically tells you there are certain things that you have to release it. I mean, it's public record, there's no way of not releasing it. But you can't show someone you can't show like the face of someone who is deceased. You can't show acts of extreme, certain things like that. We just do not have the capability of doing that with our old system. But this new one would, we would be able to do it right in-house and everything, so.
All these needs are very close to being equally important, I know, but is there a way maybe you could develop a priority list?
Yeah, I can work on that.
Yeah.
I can work on that. I've talked to Dan in maintenance about starting to get some bids on the stuff in the jail, just so we know what it would cost to do just the basic safety things. I'm not even talking about the wants, I'm talking about the needs, just to protect the inmates and employees in the county from.
Yeah, because I think we are going to get a grant, rather long-term grant, but it has quite a bit of restriction to it. But there's a small amount of the grant each year for the 15 years that is not encumbered, but dictated the purpose for it.
Right.
And maybe that would be a good.
Yeah, I will definitely start doing that. I know I did get an estimate on just the camera and door buttons and stuff like that, and that, just that alone was $500 and some $1,000. So I'm sure this is going to be a few $1 million just to
Did you say
get.
500,000
Yeah,
for a door button?
for all
Well,
the
he's talking about the
cameras,
whole system.
for the cameras, the whole system, and everything.
Okay, I missed part of that.
It's going to be. Just the things I named, I'm sure it's going to be a few $1 million at least.
It's a little bit more than the ring.
Yeah.
And a little bit more protection too.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
all right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
thank you, Fred.